Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be talking about the Ravens and Patriots game that just ended about like an hour and a half ago. I was watching the end of a basketball game before I wanted to come on here and talk about this game because I also needed just to kind of give myself a second to think because, the Ravens season is over. And it's not mathematically over. It's not statistically over. There is still a chance that the Ravens do get into the playoffs. But I don't want to see them there. I don't want to see this team in the playoffs. I don't care to see this team in the playoffs. I have no emotion towards this team making the playoffs. Just sit the starters the next two games, give it up, and that's about all. Because the chances of us making the playoffs are I think 2 or 3% on ESPN. Because what would have to happen is we would have to beat the Packers and we'd have to beat the Steelers, and then the Steelers would have to lose to the Cleveland Browns and lose to the Ravens at home in Week 18. That's what would have to happen. But unfortunately, it's not even going to get to that scenario where it matters because the Ravens season is over. I'm declaring it. I'm planting the flag down just like every other fan in this community is doing the exact same thing. The Ravens season is over. The Ravens lose 28-24 in another speechless, heartbreaking, and just Ravens loss. Once again, it's the same thing. This team loses the same way. The craziest, most actually mind-boggling things continue to happen with the Ravens. Things you'll never see on a football field, in sequences that they happen. Continue to happen for the Ravens. They continue to literally try and they it feels like every single game that they go into, they try and lose in the worst way possible. And there was a legitimate thought in my brain during this fourth quarter of this game where I actually thought the Ravens were trying to lose the game. It was kind of obvious that the Ravens it literally looked like they were trying to lose because of how awful that fourth quarter was. And this game very much reminded me of another AFC East team another AFC East team in that division. It reminded me of the Bills game. It reminded me of the Ravens and Bills game. And what's funny about those two games is that the Ravens and Bills game was the game that opened up the season. Obviously, we played Buffalo in Buffalo to open up the year where we lost and choked that fourth quarter lead. And it was a horrible, horrendous loss where everything went wrong in the fourth quarter. And that was exactly what today was. So it was very fitting that the season started with us blowing a double-digit fourth quarter lead and everything went wrong in the fourth quarter and our defense absolutely collapsing. It's very fitting that happened to start the year, and then our season ended on literally the exact same situation to the other great team in the AL East. I said the AFC East in the New England Patriots, who win 28-24 over the Ravens. It was a horrific loss. There is so many things that need to be said about this game. But I'm first going to just start off by just sending out a quick little announcement to everyone that's listening, everyone that's a Ravens fan, everyone that understands what this team is happening and what's happening with this team. For anybody, if John Harbaugh and Zach Orr are on this team next season, I honestly, I don't even know what I'm gonna do, to be honest. It's funny to me how. It's just funny to me how everything happens, with football. It's funny to me how everything happens with this team. It's funny to me how horrible of losses this team has. It's funny how they don't learn ever. This team never learns. This team will never, ever, 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 ever learn how to close a game, how to be a normal football team. All I ask is for them to be just a somewhat normal football team. That's all I ask. And they continue to do the most brain dead and dumb things you will ever see in your entire life on a football field. For those of y'all that know what I'm talking about, for those of y'all that watched the game, y'all would have seen the Mark Andrews lateral pass into an interception that eventually it didn't count because there was a roughing the passer alongside with a illegal forward pass, so the penalties offset itself. But it was just the principle of the play. It really did summarize the Ravens season in a whole. To be honest with you, I don't think I could find a better clip that summarizes the Ravens season than that Mark Andrews lateral interception. Which didn't count, by the way, but again, it's just the purpose of it, you know what I mean? It's just the embodiment of that entire situation. But yeah, the Ravens lose 28-24, a horrible loss. We're gonna go over the box score, we're gonna go over some of the play-by-play stuff, gonna go over the box score, all that stuff. But what I will say is that Lamar Jackson did get injured in this game. He got a back injury at the end of the first half, and then he had to leave the game. And then he was questionable to return with a back injury, and then eventually he was ruled out. And so Lamar Jackson didn't play the entire second half of this game. And also, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Detroit Lions earlier in the day. So this game legitimately was a must-win game. If they were able to win this game today with the Steelers also winning, then their playoff chances would kind of go back to being even because, Steelers and Ravens both win the same day, then it just kind of moves on to the next week. But now, the Steelers win, the Ravens lose. The Steelers now have a 2-game lead above the Ravens right now. And there are 2 games left in the season, so Steelers are gonna have to win out. Steelers are gonna have to lose out. Ravens are gonna have to win out. They do play each other in Week 18. Not really looking forward to any other Ravens games, to be honest, throughout the rest of this year. This team is a complete and utter disaster, and I think that, especially after this game today, I don't really know how a lot of these players want to play for John Harbaugh anymore. I don't know how a lot of these players want to play for Zach Orr anymore. Shout out to the players. Shout out to some of the guys who made some incredible plays on defense. Like Nate Wiggins had a couple good pass breakup plays. Kyle Hamilton had some great pass deflections and some good tackles as well. Trent Simpson made some good plays as well. So on defense, some guys made some great individual plays. Draymond Jones was able to get to the quarterback. The Ravens defense was able to do a pretty decent job of getting to the quarterback on certain stretches. Sometimes Drake May literally had zero pressure on him, and then sometimes he would have a little bit of pressure on him, and sometimes he was actually getting sacked a few times this game. So the Ravens pass rush was not the problem in this game, I will say. Their secondary got absolutely fried in the second half, though, I will say. This was the first game in Drake May's career that he had 300 passing yards. Of course, we're the 2025 Ravens. If you need a get-right game, if you need a game where you want to set some career highs on passing yards, this is the team to do it. Our defense got absolutely fried in this game. Shout out to Zach Orr for the amazing defensive schemes in this game. I really, really do appreciate how incredible Zach Orr's play calling is. Week by week, it's proven to be so effective, and I am so thankful for Zach Orr that he is the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. And ever since Mike Macdonald left, the Ravens defense has been a complete shell of itself for what it is, and nowhere near the dominance that it was when Mike Macdonald was at the helm of being the defensive coordinator. So shout out to Zach Orr for being one of the worst, if not the worst, defensive coordinator in the NFL. You built a great defense. You built the players, you drafted the players, and you don't put them in a position to succeed. So shout out to Zach Orr. Shout out to John Harbaugh for consistently putting this team in a horrible position. Shout out to John Harbaugh for consistently being someone who is undisciplined, doesn't get onto players, and then eventually those players and this team in general will still make the same exact mistakes, and they will continue to lose in heartbreaking fashion ways, and they will never have anything go their way ever, it seems, because of the Ravens, and the football gods hate us. They hate us, man. The start of this game was too perfect for the Ravens. We were looking unstoppable in the first 2 drives of the game. We were driving down the field. Oh, Derrick Henry fumble again. Just it was going too well. We were playing too good. That obviously the football gods did have to strike us down today. Unfortunately, football gods obviously saw we had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, the infamous double-digit fourth quarter lead graphic where we've blown all these double-digit fourth quarter leads, and good news for the graphic is that we actually got to add this game to the official graphic. So shout out to the editors. I don't know who's going to be editing that, but shout out to the editors who's going to be putting this game on the blown double-digit fourth quarter graphic. So that is great. All under John Harbaugh. Shout out John Harbaugh. Love the guy. Incredible coach. I've loved how he continues to have a job here with the Baltimore Ravens, and we continue to make the same mistakes, and we continue to lose in heartbreaking ways, and we continue to just be the exact same team over and over and over again. Every single year, no one learns. We lose in heartbreaking ways. The stupidest things happen to us. We don't really learn. We continue to make horrible coaching decisions. Our defense is inconsistent. Whatever. I mean, it's the same thing, blah, 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 blah. But again, let's just go over this Ravens game. So going over the box score of this Ravens game, obviously, Drake May, 31 of 44, 380 passing yards. Literally, arguably had the best game of his entire career. So shout out to Drake May. If you ever need like a really good game to like keep your job, if you ever need like a really good wake up call or wake up game to kind of get back into a rhythm, the 2025 Baltimore Ravens are here for you. If you ever need anything, if you ever need like a get right game, we're here for you. We will make sure, our defense will make sure that we will give you the highest stats in the entire world. We will make sure that you look incredible because our defensive coordinator has no idea what he's doing out on a football field at all times, has no idea what's happening ever on a football field. The fact that he kept his job after week 5 actually was impressive. It was impressive how insane that was, that he kept his job after 5 weeks, after having the worst 5-week start to a defense in the history of the National Football League. But going over and looking here at the box score, going over to the quarterbacks of this game, as you can see, the Ravens had 2 quarterbacks in this game. Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley both played. Tyler Huntley played the entire second half of a game where the Ravens' season was on the line. So that was fun. But Tyler Huntley did play fine. I'm not going to blame him for this game at all. He did his thing. He drove the team down the field. It was really like Derrick Henry driving the team down the field. But then we benched Derrick Henry after his second touchdown, didn't play him the entire fourth quarter after he scored his second touchdown because I guess we just wanted to give Keaton Mitchell some opportunities because why not? It was a 3-point game. Our season's on the line. Let's just bench our best offensive weapon because why not? Why not? It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Why not? Who cares? Lamar Jackson in this game in the first half, he played like pretty much the entire first half. He left at the end of the first half. Lamar was 7 for 10 for 101 passing yards. He was playing incredible in this game. Didn't get sacked in that whole first half. He was great. Lamar Jackson was actually incredible in this game. And another thing that I want to say about the offensive line for the Ravens, this was the best game that the offensive line played all season long for the Ravens, hands down. The offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens was incredible in today's game, so I want to give them their flowers. I want to shout them out. They were great. The pass rush for the Ravens, they had their moments. There was some stretches throughout the game where Drake May didn't feel like a single, like any sort of even tiny percentage of pressure. But there were some stretches where we were getting home on him, but he was just making some good plays. But Lamar Jackson, he played great in the time that he was here. He also had 7 rushing yards in that time. And then he took off to gain some yards, and that's eventually where he actually got hurt, got kneed in the back, and then eventually just couldn't come in the rest of the game. I guess it just hit, a nerve or something. I don't know. Then Tyler Huntley came in the game. He was 9 for 10, so very accurate. Had 65 passing yards. He was 9 for 10. He had 2 rushing yards as well. So Tyler Huntley, the passing game wasn't really in the manual, I guess, whenever Tyler Huntley came in. Because obviously we're not going to trust Tyler Huntley to go out there and pass the football. He was accurate, but it wasn't for any it wasn't for a ton of yards. But going over to the rushers in this game, Derrick Henry, an incredible game by Derrick Henry. Shout out to him. He was amazing in this game. He had 18 carries for 128 yards, averaging 7.1 yards per carry, and having 2 touchdowns in this game. He also fumbled the football in the first quarter of this game. He fumbled the football, gave the Patriots the ball back, and then they ended up going out. Oh, sorry, it was in the second quarter. Derrick Henry fumbled the football, and then the Patriots ended up scoring off of the fumble. which we can obviously look back on and be upset about, and obviously it was pretty upsetting for Derek. But Derrick Henry for the rest of the game 100% made up for it. He was a beast this entire game. I think he had like 80 rushing yards after the fumble and a touchdown. So he was incredible after the fumble. He made up for it with those 2 touchdowns. So I'm not going to sit here and blame Derrick Henry at all. He was the best offensive weapon for the Ravens today. Zay Flowers did have a rushing touchdown today. We did a nice little trick play when we were at like the 15-yard line. It was a really cool play. Todd Monken drew up a gem, and then the Ravens ended up scoring a touchdown, and it was super cool. Zay Flowers got a touchdown. He also fumbled on the last drive of the game for the Ravens with the game on the line and our season on the line. So shout out to Zay Flowers. He's pretty much, in a way, ended our season twice, so that's great. He's had more fumbles and touchdowns as well, also. I might as well just throw that out there. Keaton Mitchell had 18 carries in this game as well. Keaton Mitchell had 9 carries in this game for 13 yards, so not a great game by Keaton Mitchell, actually, at all. We gave Keaton Mitchell 9 carries for 13 yards, and then he was actually in the game at the end of the game instead of Derrick Henry. I don't care about the 2-minute warning. I don't care about game scenario, game script, 2-minute warning. I don't care. Derrick Henry's your best offensive weapon. You need him out there with your season on the line. Point blank, period. That's it. I don't care about the 2-minute warning. I care about giving my ball to the best player who is averaging 7 yards per carry and had 128 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. That's what I care about. I care about winning. I care about having my season on the line. I don't care about having Keaton Mitchell in the game. I love Keaton Mitchell, by the way. I love him to death. Just didn't have a great game today. And then obviously we saw everything else. But going over to the receivers, there was actually only 5 receivers who caught passes in this game because we have a very versatile passing game. We passed to a bunch of different receivers like the Patriots did. But just kidding. We only passed to 5 receivers in this game. Zay Flowers had 7 catches for 84 yards. He was making some big plays downfield, made some big clutch third down catches, so shout out to Zay. DeAndre Hopkins had 4 catches for 41 yards. We were actually getting D-Hop involved in this game, and he was playing very well. Had some very big catches, had 2 big third down conversion catches. He was amazing. Mark Andrews had 2 catches for 21 yards. Charlie Kohler had a catch for 18 yards. Rasheen Ali had 2 catches for 2 yards. And then Rashad Bateman had 0 catches for 0 yards, and Isaiah Likely also had 0 catches for 0 yards. So shout out to Rashad Bateman. Just paid him an extension, and I think he has had more games this year with 0 yards than he's had games with actual yardage. So shout out to Rashad Bateman for really contributing in this Ravens game. Played great. 0 catches, 0 yards. Shout out to you. Just paid him a bag, by the way. Just paid him an extension for him to literally go out here with the season on the line and catch 0 passes. So shout out to him. Also shout out to Isaiah Likely for having back-to-back weeks with 0 catches, and I'm starting to kind of understand why we didn't pay him, because he is not even catching the football for the Ravens. So going over to the fumbles, Derrick Henry fumbled the football. Zay Flowers also fumbled the football. You know the vibes. Going over to the sacks, Trent Simpson had a sack. Draymond Jones had a sack. He played great in this game. And then our Darius Washington, welcome back. He had a sack. Devontae Walker also had a sack technically, but it really wasn't like a sack. But going over and looking at the tackle for loss, Trent Simpson had 2 tackles for loss. Kyle Hamilton had 1. Going over to the interceptions, Marlon Humphrey caught an interception. But don't be fooled, kids. Don't be fooled by the Marlon Humphrey interception. It was a great interception, I will say. Drake May made an inaccurate throw. Marlon Humphrey took advantage of it, stepped in front of the receiver, got the interception. It was a great play. But after that interception in the first quarter, Marlon Humphrey proceeded to get absolutely torched by the Patriots receivers, and as Drake May threw for his career high in passing yards. Going over to the overall team stats, the Patriots had a whopping 453 total yards in this game, compared to the Ravens' 330. Again, I will say the Ravens did have no Lamar Jackson in the second half, which is just grand and jolly, of course, because, of course, our franchise quarterback gets hurt at halftime with a back injury with our season on the line. Because why not, you know? The Patriots had a lot more plays than us, had a couple more minutes of time of possession. The Ravens did have more penalties than the Patriots, but the Patriots had more penalty yardage. In terms of first downs, the Patriots had 24 first downs compared to the Ravens' 18. The Patriots were 4 for 12 on third down, while the Ravens were actually a really, really solid 7 for 11 on third down efficiency. So the Ravens on third down was pretty much automatic in this game. They played great there. Patriots had about like 15 more total plays. They had obviously like 123 more total yards. Both teams had 10 drives. Both teams were very similar in terms of yards per play. So both teams were getting some big plays. The Patriots got a lot of their big plays from the passing game, and the Ravens got a lot of their big plays from the running game in this game. But going over, looking at the sacks, the Ravens defense had 4 sacks in this game, which is really cool. And then the Patriots defense only ended up sacking a Ravens quarterback once in this game. So the offensive line played great. I'm not going to sit here and chew them out in this game because the offensive line did their job and played great. Gave Derrick Henry some good running lanes and really protected the quarterback in this game as well, giving them chances to go downfield. So shout out to the offensive line in this game. The Ravens dominated in rushing compared to the Patriots by like 100 yards. And then in terms of the turnovers, both teams ended up having 2 turnovers in this game. So, when it came down to it, we were in the fourth quarter. The Ravens were winning in the fourth quarter, 23 to 11. They were winning 24 to 11. They were up 24 to 11 in the fourth quarter, and then the Patriots proceed to score 15 points in the fourth quarter. They proceed to have over like 200 total yards in the fourth quarter, and I don't even think Drake May had a single incompletion in the entire fourth quarter. He was just gunning it downfield. Every receiver was catching it, getting big plays, getting big yardage, moving down the field, and everything was going wrong. And then the Ravens obviously eventually lose this game because the Patriots end up scoring a touchdown. Then the Ravens are up by 3, and then the Ravens were up by 3 with like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter with their season on the line, and Derrick Henry wasn't on the field at all. And we even got a first down that drive too, and he wasn't even on the field at all. Then we punted away, gave the Patriots the ball, then they ran down the field and had touchdowns on back-to-back drives, and then that was the game. So one more thing that I want to look at, going over to the play-by-play here. And again, throughout this upcoming week of Christmas, obviously, happy holidays to you guys. Throughout this week of Christmas, when we get certain info and news about the Ravens and maybe some comments from the post-game press conference and stuff like that, and just when we hear some more stuff throughout the team, I will be going over and kind of sharing my thoughts on some things about the Ravens and about just my thoughts on the team and the state of the team right now. I probably am going to do a state of the team episode this week now that it is it's over. I'm not even going to entertain the idea that it's possible for us to get in. Technically it is, but we don't control our own destiny anymore, which is obviously the worst thing in football because then you have to rely on other people. And we're going to be having to rely on the Cleveland Browns, and that's only if we beat the Packers on Saturday. So the Ravens do have a little bit shorter of a week this week. They do play Saturday night, where they're going to look to go 8-8 or 7-9. Honestly, I don't even really care what ends up happening, because to be honest with you, if the Ravens lose, it's kind of good because we get a little bit better of a draft pick, and it also maybe ensures that John Harbaugh will be getting fired soon with losing. So losing brings positives, but also winning brings a little bit of positives as well. But at this point, I think losing might bring more positives in terms of the future of this team at this point. Because even if the Ravens do beat the Packers on Sunday on the road in Lambeau, on Saturday in Lambeau, even if the Ravens do win that game, if the Steelers beat the Browns on Sunday, they clinch the AFC North and eliminate the Ravens from the playoffs. And then that Week 18 game won't even matter. So we'll see what ends up happening with the Ravens. We'll see about any news that happens this week about who they're going to be playing, some injury updates to Lamar, just injury updates in general, and obviously like the state of the team as a whole right now, and kind of how disastrous of a season this is. And I will want to say one thing is that this was not only, in my opinion, maybe the most anticipated and hyped up season in Ravens history. When you talk about how the window is really going to be closing after the season based on free agents going to free agency, when you also talk about the team that we assembled, a complete team, an amazing draft, some amazing veteran players on the team like DeAndre Hopkins and at the time Jair Alexander. So you had some amazing veterans. You had Lamar Jackson coming off of the best season of his career statistically. You had Derrick Henry, who's obviously a beast. You had an offensive line who was supposed to be pretty decent. You had some receivers that was going to help, adding on DeAndre Hopkins to that list. So you had a very, very, very solid and stacked Ravens team from head to toe. You had an incredibly talented defense on paper, an incredibly talented offense on paper, and arguably the best quarterback and most talented quarterback in the NFL on your team. So obviously the expectations were sky high for the Ravens this season. They were the Super Bowl favorites alongside of the Eagles and the Bills. They had the exact same odds as them, so they were the Super Bowl favorites. They were the co-Super Bowl favorites. Well, not co, but they were the Super Bowl favorites alongside a couple other guys or a couple other teams. And now we're here. Now we are 7-8 and about to be eliminated from the playoffs. But what makes me feel a little bit better is that the Kansas City Chiefs are also suffering with us, so they can join us in this hell of being very disappointing. But what I will say is that in terms of disappointment, not necessarily off of injury, but off of play on the field, the Chiefs and the Ravens are by far the two most disappointing teams in the NFL. They were two of the four highest odds in terms of Super Bowl favorites. I think the Chiefs were like second in odds, and the Ravens were tied for first in odds. So, it was great. I love having high expectations and not meeting them, because then it caused tension and drama and moves to be made and all that stuff. So all I know is that it's probably going to be a super long offseason for the Ravens. But going over the play-by-play, starting off the game, the Ravens had an incredible 5-play, 65-yard, 2.5-minute drive touchdown to start the game for the Ravens. And after that, I said, oh my God, we're back, we're unstoppable. This is the Ravens offense we've been waiting to see. And then Marlon Humphrey gets an interception on a 10-play Patriots drive. Ravens get the ball back. They drive all the way down the field again on a 9-play, 64-yard drive, and then Derrick Henry fumbles the football, gives the ball back to the Patriots, and then they end up scoring a touchdown to tie the game 7-7. Then the Ravens get the ball back, a 3-play, 1-yard drive where we punt. Then the Ravens give up a field goal, so they played good red zone defense. Patriots kick a field goal. Ravens are down 10-7. Then the Ravens drive down the field again, and then this is the drive where Lamar Jackson actually got hurt. Then we settled for a field goal. Then it was 10-10. Then the Patriots fumbled the football. Ravens got the ball back again. So 2 first-half turnovers for the Patriots. For the Ravens defense off the Patriots. And then forced a fumble, and the Patriots got the ball back. Ended up not doing anything with it. It was 10-10 at halftime. It was a tie game at half. Patriots got the ball to start the second half, and they ended up having a 3-play, negative 1-yard, 3-and-out drive. Ravens get the ball. Then Tyler Lute missed like a 56-yard field goal. Still 10-10. Then the Patriots settled for a field goal, 13-10. Then the Ravens had a 6-play, 65-yard, 3-minute drive touchdown to go up 17-13. This was the Zay Flowers touchdown. And then after that, then the Patriots turned it over on downs, and the Ravens got the ball back again. And then at the start of the fourth quarter, the Ravens had a 4-minute drive to score a touchdown to go up 24-13 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So by the time the Ravens scored the touchdown with 12 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the Ravens had a 2-possession lead. They had a double-digit lead. And then at the 9-minute mark of the fourth quarter, the Patriots ended up having a 7-play, 73-yard touchdown drive to make it a 3-point game. Then we had a 6-play drive where we punted it for 13 yards. Derrick Henry wasn't on the field. Then we punted it, gave the ball back to New England. They had a 9-play, 89-yard drive touchdown. So back-to-back long touchdown drives to make it a 3-point game and then eventually take the lead. Then the Ravens got the ball back with the drive of their life, like this was the drive to save their season, and then Zay Flowers fumbled the football and it essentially ends our season, and then the Patriots end the game there. So overall, a horrific game, another horrific season for the Ravens down the drain. This time it didn't actually end in the playoffs though. It ended in the regular season to another heartbreaking end. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to the episode of Birds with Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, make sure to click the link in the description to check out the Twitter and the Instagram. If you're already following my Twitter account, I was live tweeting pretty much the entire second half of this game, and there was a lot of tweets being said on there, lots of crazy stuff happening on there, obviously, because it's crazy times. I mean, this is a crazy football team. It's the most disappointing season in the history of the Baltimore Ravens. And it was also the most anticipated season in the history of the Baltimore Ravens. So two things could be the same at the two things could be true at the same time. So again, shout out to the Ravens for a complete waste of a season. And yeah, the season is pretty much over. The season is pretty much over. It's not officially over, but it is. I mean, it's over. The idea is over. Lamar Jackson after the game said that he couldn't even move, and he was struggling to get undressed from the game and struggling to talk to a reporter. It's over. Lamar Jackson it's going to be a 1 day less of a short week this week as we play on Saturday night. Lamar's most likely probably not going to play this Saturday with how he's talking about his injury right now. And also, I don't even blame him because I wouldn't want to play for John Harbaugh either. So again, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next episode. We're going to talk this week about the state of the Ravens and also any sort of Orioles updates and news from free agency, and then just going over any sort of news, obviously, regarding the Baltimore sports, because that's what we do around here. Again, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. You have a great Steelers day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see you later. Peace out.